Well, hello. Got some riveting stuff, some difficult stuff to talk about, and some stuff that'll make you angry, or all of the above at the same time. The eighth day of the trial of Athena Strand's murderer. In the death penalty phase, prosecution just rested. What happened today was the most riveting and horrifying day because they played the video and audio from inside of the FedEx van where the horrifying things happened to that beautiful little girl. We learned more than we ever knew about what happened, what he did to her, what he said and what she said. That'll be coming up in a moment. Also, we have Camp Mystic. I cannot tell you how angering, troubling, and outrageous it is to continue to watch and to read about this trial from the family of the last 8-year-old, last child and victim of the flood that killed 27 million people by the negligence of Camp Mystic, in my opinion. What I learned today from the trial, and the judge handed out an order to Camp Mystic, I would never send my camp there. And you can be as Christian, authentic Christian, anything you want, and still be hella guilty and be in dire need of being smacked down and perhaps losing that camp and never opening again. And I am floored how many people are signed up to put their kids in it this May, in like, a month? I'll tell you about that in just a moment. As well as the city of Dallas is now being threatened to have millions and millions of dollars taken away from it from cooperating with ICE. And an insane, stupid, embarrassing, militant, lesbian, woke, leftist, and WNBA, and how they handled the question today by the press today of the Dallas Wings, which nobody knows who the Dallas Wings are. It's a wing restaurant. It's Wingstop. Nonetheless, there was a very worthy thing to talk about that happened today in a press conference with the sport that nobody watches. But first, this show is brought to you. This show is brought to you by IRSprob.com, IRSprob.com, helping good people with IRS problems. Helping people that may have indeed IRS problems right now, or helping with tax planning strategies, specializing in IRS controversy, IRS audits, and tax planning strategies. Randy Martin's been my CPA. IRSprob.com has been for over 9 years. They're incredible. Use them like I have for years. You can call 214-214-3000. Okay, this is hard. It's gripping, enraging, but it must be shared with you. Now, the Athena Strand murder trial. The 7-year-old girl who was 67 pounds, murdered by a 250-pound man, kidnapped from her house, from her front yard, if you will, in rural Wise County. To this very moment, nobody knew what was said in that car, in that FedEx van. Not a truck, but a van. Today, for the first time ever, the judge stopped the streaming of the trial because he was about to play the video and audio. It's a video with audio, but a lot of it was covered up by the murderer. He played that in court. He ordered everybody in court that this is it. This is your one chance. If you don't want to hear everything that happens between Athena Strand and her murderer, inside of the van, outside of the van, and afterwards, then you need to leave now. Get out now. The parents of Athena Strand left for obvious reasons. The jury would sob after this was played. They played an hour of the video and audio before, during, and after the murder. And I'm going to read you what I think is the best description. Today it happens to come from the Star-Telegram. Because you need to hear this, and you need to hear why this man needs to be put to death. Not out of vindictiveness, not to save money, not for revenge, but because this is the exact proper punishment that he deserves, administered soberly by the people of Texas. 10:30 a.m. this morning in court, live stream off while jury hears audio of murder. Because he covered up the camera. So you see some video, but then you also have the camera covered up. And this is what we now know, obviously, is the last scene inside of that van before he would do vile things to her. And I'm going to read you what was described, because the judge ordered the streaming of the trial to be stopped. Anybody inside the courtroom heard 1 hour of audio from inside that FedEx van. He delivered the package at Athena's home. The 7-year-old is then seen following him toward the back of the van. He lifts her inside and closes the doors. Athena asks, "Where are you taking me?" The killer covers up the camera lens, but the audio is still recording. As he drives, he asks Athena questions like her age, where she goes to school. When he stops the van, he tells Athena that they're going to hang out for a while. He orders the girl, and I'm going to take the picture off at this point. He orders the girl to take off her shirt. Athena is heard crying and asking him what he is doing to her and if he is a kidnapper. Athena says that she wants to, and by the way, I thank God that we have technology so that the jury can see this, to put this man in the ground where he belongs. Corner, the murderer orders the girl to take her shirt off. She's heard crying and asking him what he is doing to her and if he is a kidnapper. She says that she wants to go home and she wants her mom. At one point, Athena says, "Why are you doing this?" He replies, "Because you're pretty. You know that." Or, "You know that?" She says, "My mom says I can't do that to somebody. And you can't do that to me either." That's exactly right. Choking and other sounds are heard that made it clear he is hurting her. At some point, he starts driving again, and she, Athena, is heard screaming. She's still alive. As he sings along, she is screaming. As he took her shirt off, made her take her shirt off, he hurt her tremendously. He starts driving again. She's screaming as he sings along with Jingle Bell Rock in the car. Reminder that her Barbies that she asked for Christmas, he had just delivered. And I'm going to share something because the authorities believe that he was covering up his camera a lot because he was looking to grab a girl. He was looking for one on his route. He's going to grab one. And you're going to hear there was a man, a family that has two little girls. It could have been them that day. At some point, he starts driving again. She's screaming as he sings along with Jingle Bell Rock on the radio. He yells at her, telling her to shut up or he'll hurt her more. Prosecutors have said that he made multiple attempts to kill the girl before he dumped her naked body in the water along the Trinity River. The medical examiner determined that Athena died from blunt force trauma with smothering and strangulation. This sick bastard worked very hard to kill her. And remember, they found semen on his shirt and hat, but they couldn't do the date on it. And they found his DNA on her kit, her rape kit, I believe it is. And yesterday I read the forensic pathologist who did the analysis, the DNA expert who used to be with the Texas State Crime Lab, said that we don't provide conclusive evidence with our DNA analysis. We only rule people out, and that's how it works. And she says we cannot rule out that his DNA was on her, that his semen was on her, that kind of stuff. Texas Ranger, and then now I'm going to go back. There's video of him after the homicide and perhaps sexual assault. Live stream resumes of the trial. They showed the video of him uncovering the camera lens as he drives. He seems calm and he smokes a cigarette. The door between the cabin and the back of the van is closed. He stops at a gas station and opens the door that separates the front and back of the van. He then gets out of the van and comes back with cleaning supplies, carrying a roll of toilet paper, of paper towels, and a spray bottle of liquid cleaning product. He walks from the cabin into the back and begins scrubbing the floor. Again, this is all transcribed and written up by the Star-Telegram today. Texas Ranger Job Espinoza testified to introduce video evidence from the FedEx vans. In total, there's more than 30 hours from the video and audio. Videos show the killer covering the camera lens multiple times, several lenses multiple times. Prosecutors seem to suggest that this indicated the killer planned the crime and was looking for an opportunity to take a child, not the child, a child. He was hunting for a child victim. Put this guy in the freaking ground. The vans have a dash cam that shows a forward-facing view and a cabin cam that shows the driver and the inside of the van. That's where we saw this picture, this horrifying picture of Athena in the back of the van. And by the way, he looks like he's whistling or singing. That's probably when he's singing Jingle Bell Rock after he's brutalized her once. I don't know. The vans have a dash cam that shows the forward-facing view camera and the cabin cam. Horner, the killer, covered the front-facing camera almost an hour and a half before he delivered the package to Athena's home. He was looking for a victim, the Texas Ranger said. He also covered the camera on November 29th when he delivered a package to the Huffman family, who lived in the same rural road and had 2 young daughters. He was just looking for the time and the date to do it. I ask for your prayers for the Strand family. I ask for your prayers for a guilt. He already admitted that he killed her. He admitted it and pleaded because he doesn't want to get the death penalty. I pray, and I pray that you pray that he gets the death penalty. The death penalty is biblical. Romans 13:1 says, if you obey the laws of the land, you have nothing to fear, but if you disobey the laws of the land, you have every reason to fear, because God gave the government the sword for a reason. It's to cut off your head when need be. And that's what needs to happen. Camp Mystic. Yesterday I was telling you it was, and I read these different pieces and parts of the from the coverage of the trial. Right now what's going on is a family of an 8-year-old girl. She's the only one of the 27 killed in the floods at Camp Mystic. She's the only one whose bodies they've never recovered. And the family is suing to preserve the evidence, meaning the whole camp, as well as to not allow them to go back in session because they say our daughter's body could be somewhere around there. Now, I told you yesterday, and I'll say it again, I strongly disagree with the fact that their daughter's body, the remains, obviously, by this point, remains. You can't shut down an area because a body hasn't been found. You can't do that. I don't agree with that. But I agree with this family wholeheartedly, and I'm grateful they're doing what they're doing because Camp Mystic is trying to carry on. I reported to you yesterday from the coverage that the nurse, who's a member of the Eastland family, who for 3 generations has run for 100 years, has run Camp Mystic, and the nurse admitted that she didn't have a plan, that she didn't have an ability and didn't reach out to other nurses to try to save the girls, that all she tried to do and did was save her freaking kids. I told you that the nurse, the woman I just mentioned, that within 24 hours of a death at a camp like hers, it is Texas law that you must report the death. As of yesterday, she still hasn't reported 27 deaths at the camp. They grilled her. They grilled a former Houston police officer who was the night watchman, and they all ended up, when being grilled the right way, admitted that they totally failed. They could have planned. They didn't. They could have taken action. They didn't. And I have told you that Camp Mystic is criminally negligent. They should be charged with crimes. Today, the judge ruled in the favor of the plaintiffs, the family of the 8-year-old, to, and by the way, Camp Mystic, I'm telling you something. I get so mad because Camp Mystic was already told, do not change things at the site, do not remove things or make repairs or adjustments or remodel any of these places. And they've been doing it. According to this report in the Dallas Morning News, they've been doing it. They have learned nothing. They are not changing any behavior from anything I'm seeing. And they are indignant, and their defense attorneys are nasty, and they are humping the leg of the family, saying, look at how much of a hero he is. Look at him. He did this. He did that. They are totally criminally negligent. They are the acting the exact opposite of anybody who wanted to change, who wants to change and wants to fix things and wants to make amends. They should not be allowed to open that camp. And I'm glad Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick says that that he will do everything he can and he will stop. And he's told everybody, you will not open up until every investigation is finished. Criminal, I believe the Texas Rangers are looking into it, and civil and everything until all investigations are done. 27 people died, and they have 900 girls registered and signed up to start next month. I cannot believe 900 parents or 900 girls have had their parents say, I want my daughter, we're signing up, when can we get in there? And the arrogance, the attitude, and the refusal to change, and the refusal to be admitting how they were wrong and totally negligent and criminally negligent is, in the sassiness, is outrageous and disgusting. And this shows you, as I said yesterday, I'll say all the time about this, this shows you that you can be an authentic, perfect, wonderful Christian. I'm not calling their salvation into question. And still be a freaking criminal. And be criminal negligent. And lead to deaths of people. And be lazy, arrogant, and not do your work. They were in violation of Texas state law because they had no evacuation plan according to this. They violated law after law, and they're still pretending like they didn't do anything wrong. And the lawyers they hire have that attitude of, we did nothing wrong. In fact, we're incredible. I am, if you want to be an idiot and you want to put your daughter in this camp, even though they're saying, well, the camp we're opening, that part of the camp is not flood prone, there was no flood and all this kind of, I don't care. I don't care. So now let me go to what the judge says and what came out today, because as my notes say right here, you can be Christian and still be massively criminally negligent for the death of 27 people, and you can still need to be brought to justice. And that's what this is right here. The judge today, thankfully, in a state district judge in Austin, thankfully, ordered Camp Mystic not to alter. I'm disgusted because it's a Christian camp. I'm disgusted because justice from the state has to come in. This, to me, is no different than a church that protects a molester. The judge ordered they are not to alter, not to repair, not to demolish cabins that house campers and counselors who died. The judge said the parents of the 8-year-old had demonstrated probable right to the relief sought in their lawsuit against Camp Mystic and members of the Eastland family who own and operate the camp. This finding is supported by facts tending to show that the defendants owed a duty to care to the 8-year-old and other minor campers when they breached operating Camp Mystic in a high-risk zone without adequate flood protections. The judge said the defendants potentially violated a section of Texas Administrative Code by failing to maintain a written evacuation plan or provide documented safety training which supports a finding of negligence per se. This is all in the Dallas Morning News today. The section of state law she cited requires Texas youth camps to have a written plan for responding to a disaster, serious accident, epidemic, or fatality. It requires Texas youth camps to have procedures for emergency shelter and for evacuating each occupied building and facility. It also mandates campers be instructed on what actions to take in the event of a fire, disaster, or other incident requiring evacuation. They didn't do any of this. And 900 girls are signed up to start camp next month. This is unbelievable. It's like a movie where stupid people, and most of the people that send their kids here are wealthy or well off. Stupid, wealthy people. Do they want the status symbol? Do they want to be able to say they sent their kids there? Are you stupid? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You can have tons of money and be stupid. The defendants are presently engaged in material alterations to the camp, the judge says. They are currently doing material alterations to a camp when all these investigations are going on. And you would send your kid here now? And I can't forget the names of some of these cabins where the girls died. 27 people in total. Giggle Box. When you see the name of one of the cabins as Giggle Box, and knowing what happened, it's like a horror movie. The attorney for the family of the 8-year-old presented the evidence and testimony during the hearing, indicating that some of these buildings where these girls died, including perhaps their own daughter, had already been altered despite a previous injunction temporarily prohibiting such activities. They are violating judges' orders. The judge's new order prevents the defendants from using Camp Mystic, Guadalupe River's cabins and buildings for any camp operations. Camp Mystic was founded in 1926, has been run by the Eastland clan for 3 generations. The Eastlands plan to reopen part of their retreat this summer. The newer Camp Mystic Cypress Lake campus, which sits on higher ground and did not flood on July 4th. Nearly 900 girls have registered to attend, set to open May 30th. What is that, in 15 days? No, in 45 days. Unbelievable, disgusting, and enraging. I am, can you tell? I am mad, angry, and disgusted. Okay. Oh, by the way, before we get into ICE, today the Republicans, some of them, overrode on a bipartisan vote to override and to kill President Trump. He's trying to he killed the temporary protective status TPS for the Haitian illegals. There were 350,000 illegal Haitians that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris waved a magic wand to. Bill Melugin from Fox News showing the audio, the video from back then, where they were just invading us, hundreds of thousands, or hundreds of them, 15,000 of them under a bridge. And Bill Melugin also chronicled and showed from when he was covering at the border at that time for Fox, all these Chilean driver licenses and documents and passports from Brazil and Chile. And he said that the overwhelming majority of all the Haitians that invaded us illegally, that are illegals, they're all illegals. All the TPS people are illegals. The overwhelming majority of them, he says, come from not Haiti, even though they're Haitian. They were already living in South America, in Chile, Brazil, and other countries, working and living just fine for years. And they admitted they were coming for jobs, that they had no need, anything. He interviewed them all as they were coming in. And yet these Republicans, about 10 of them, they're all from where the Haitians are living. In Ohio, Springfield, Ohio, in New York, in the New York City area, and in a couple other states. The Republicans that sold us out, including the guy that is a big turd to me, Don Bacon, is a Rhino Republican out of Nebraska, and he also signed on to this too. And he thinks it's great that we got all these illegals, and they all want to codify what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did by invading us of 10 to 20 million people in 4 years. Shame on them all. The good news is Bill Melugin says there's just about 0% chance that it'll pass in the Senate, and even if it did, that Trump would veto it. But let me play you audio that is very, very critical, very important video trying to remember his last name. I'll have to pull it up here. Brandon. I'm a big fan of his. He's from Flower Mound, Congressman. Brandon, I forget his last name, but I'll pull it up here in a sec. There it is, Brandon Gill. Watch this from Brandon Gill. It's so perfect.
So let's ask ourselves, does mass migration from Haiti benefit the American people? The answer is obviously no. 65% of non-immigrant Haitian-headed households are on welfare. Does that make America stronger or more prosperous or more wealthy in any way? Of course it doesn't.
Wait, let's go back in. How many percentage of the Haitian illegals are on welfare?
So let's ask ourselves, does mass migration from Haiti benefit the American people? The answer is obviously no. 65% of non-immigrant Haitian-headed households are on welfare. Does that make America stronger or more prosperous or more wealthy in any way? Of course it doesn't. And yet we're being asked to give them amnesty and make these absolutely horrendous years of open borders effectively permanent.
65% of Haitian illegals are on the welfare. Get out of my country now. The good news is when we do deport them, and they will all be deported, is because they have temporary protective status, we know where they work, we know where they live, and we're going to get them out of here really fast. This is slavery. That's exactly what this is, whether you're from Haiti or from Russia. It doesn't matter what your color is. This is slavery. For example, in Greeley, Colorado, at a meatpacking factory, I believe it was Haitians or it was another similar country in the same area. There were 9 illegals that were sitting on the floor cooking on hot plates in one hotel room. 9 illegals in one hotel room. It is slavery. It is companies being cheap or paying lower wages to make more profits. And it is slavery. And it is wrong and it is disgusting. Get those Haitians out of here. And nobody will agree with me more. In fact, nobody is more searing about Haitians than my friend Daly, who was born and raised in Haiti and came here when she was 15. She, every time there's an earthquake there, this isn't me saying it, she says it. She says, good. She says they're devil worshippers. They practice witchcraft and black magic. She despises the country. So, interesting little tidbit from somebody whose mom was born and raised there. She came here when she was 15 with her mom. Speaking of illegals, they are a net cost on us. The Department of Homeland Security revealing today $8,776 is the annual cost per illegal. We're spending almost $9,000 per illegal per year. Net loss. It's 151 billion nationwide every year we waste on illegals. 182 billion minus the roughly 31 billion in taxes they pay. They cost us for education, healthcare, law enforcement, other public services. Clear distinction between legal and illegal because legal immigrants, which is why the Democrats call them migrants or immigrants when they're lying and they're illegal immigrants. Legal immigrants are a net gain for this country. The average new legal immigrant is projected to be a net fiscal contributor over a lifetime, paying substantially more in taxes than they receive in benefits. Why? Because they come here, they're grateful, and they work real hard, and they succeed. Texas, for example, we have the worst significant burden, maybe not the worst, but significant. We lose $13.4 billion annually from illegals. Speaking of illegals, I'm very happy to say that Dallas is now being threatened to lose $32 million in grants for police and for the FIFA Cup if they don't change their policies because they are pro-amnesty. They're having their police be amnesty police. There's an order called General Order 315.04, and they say that they can refuse certain cooperation with ICE, including declining to notify ICE about individuals' immigration status and prohibit detention based on federal requests. That's insane. Prohibiting detention based on federal requests. Sanctuary City. State officials told say that those provisions directly contradict with the certification signed by the Dallas City Manager April 2025 on condition of receiving Public Safety Office grant funding. The city agreed in that agreement that police would participate fully in federal immigration enforcement programs, including notifying DHS when they've got illegals in custody. The letter gives Dallas till April 23rd, so they have 7 days to comply and to confirm they'll stop enforcing it. Dallas received $32 million in 2026 fiscal year. The city could be required to pay back the full amount within 30 days. Good. Thank you, Governor Abbott. You know, he's from, I believe, DeSoto in South Suburban Dallas. The letter also warns the policy could jeopardize an additional $55 million in public safety tied to the FIFA World Cup in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Good. I'm going to tell you something in just a moment that is pathetic. I used to have a lot of respect for the Dallas Police Association, the largest police union for the Dallas Police, but they can take a long walk up a very short pier, or as my friend says in Yiddish, my Jewish friend, get kakanaf minyan, which means go take a crap in a lake. I'll explain that in a moment, because the Houston Police Department union speaks the truth on this. The Dallas Police Officers Association is basically pro-illegal. I'll explain in a moment. Austin is being told their policies are that prohibit officers from detaining illegals based on ICE administrative warrants and requiring supervisory approval before coordinating with federal authorities. That policy has put $2.5 million in state grant funding at risk. Houston, this is brilliant. The Democrats, including Mayor John Whitmire, all voted, including him, to end a policy that says if there's a warrant for somebody for ICE, an administrative warrant, you can hold them for 30 minutes and allow ICE 30 minutes to come get them at the arrest site. Or, you know, they've even taken it back to the local jail and just, you know, waited there for 30 minutes for ICE to take them. Because the crazy leftists found out about this and that Houston had cooperated with ICE a certain amount of times, they passed a new ordinance with Democrat Houston Mayor John Whitmire's voting for to end this cooperation. Now they're suddenly doing a U-turn because guess what happened? We sent them, the governor sent them a notice saying you're going to lose more than $110 million in grant funding. Good. Now he's saying we got to have a new vote. Now he's panicking. You voted for it a week ago or 2 weeks ago. These people are leftists, and the only thing they understand is taking away their money, and I love that. Now, here's the Dallas Police Officers Association, DPA, and the big police union in Dallas. And you would never see this in Fort Worth with the FWPOA. You would never see this in Houston. Houston Police Officers Association is fantastic. They have a pair of you-know-whats. They mock the crazy leftist Lena Hidalgo, the county judge. They mock this pro-illegal policies. But now comes the Dallas Police Association that does the exact opposite. They love their illegals. The Dallas Police Association has fallen off a cliff, and they can kiss my rumpity rump. Here we go. Officers may not prolong a person's detention to investigate their immigration status or to hold them for federal authorities. Currently, Abbott's threat to take away millions, tens of millions of dollars. Currently, we are operating in Dallas 700 officers below the staffing level mandated by our voter-approved ballot measure passed in 2024. 700 below. They're breaking the law. They're bracing for a surge of visitors for the FIFA Cup coming up later this year. My uncle, who I love dearly, and his whole family, his grandkids, his kids, are all coming here. They're renting a whole bunch of places, and we're all hanging out for like a whole week. I can't wait. But now comes Sergeant Sean Peace, president of the Dallas Police Association, and he says Abbott's threat to funding was deeply disturbing. It creates unnecessary strain on a department already facing significant staffing challenges. Are you a politician? Are you a leftist politician? You are now. These policies, the Dallas Police Association President Sergeant Peace says, these policies do not prevent cooperation with federal authorities. They ensure that Dallas officers are not diverted from their core mission during the routine policing. Yeah, you don't want to get illegals off the street that are criminals. No, because you are woke leftists now. Dallas Police Association. Don't give them a dime of your money. These policies do not prevent cooperation with federal authorities. They ensure that Dallas officers are not diverted from their core mission, blah, blah, blah. He argued public safety should never become a political bargaining chip. So the Dallas Police Association has fallen off a cliff. They're a leftist political organization. And again, don't give them any money. I don't support them. And by the way, 2 Dallas Police Association presidents ago, I can't remember the guy's name, he was the most nastiest person to me. There was some reason he couldn't stand me. He would never come on. He wouldn't respond. I mean, I called that guy's office. I called Dallas Police Association. I can't remember his name. But the next guy after him just got arrested and charged because he left. He got in a situation, I think, a drunken driving thing maybe, or he killed somebody or something in a crash and didn't tell anybody. Now this is the new guy. They've fallen off a cliff 2 in a row. But the previous one before the DPA president for years, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but that guy was an SOB. I called their office over and over again to want to have him on. And I told, at some point, I'm like, dude, my dad's a retired Chicago police officer. I have another immediate family member that's a police officer, multi-generational law enforcement. I'm massively supportive of him. And this turd wouldn't call me back, wouldn't even have one of his people say, hey, he can't come on or he won't come on or whatever. So they've been on my crap list almost forever. Okay, this is watch this. Well, first of all, let's have a laugh. Here's Jazzy. She's unemployed and she's asking people for a job now. Watch this.
But I'm a whole lawyer. So I will potentially go back to practicing law. I'm engaged in conversations with some law firms about what that would look like. I want to be semi-flexible as it relates to the practice of law.
She has 2 massive bottles resting on her nose on each side. What the heck is that?
Because I absolutely want to get to this book.
So she wants a race hustler. She's going to have to work for a race hustler law firm. Nobody's going to hire her. Would you hire that woman to work at your firm? Of course not, unless you're a race hustler. That's what she is, and she'll find a job at one of these. It's going to be one of the ones we know, either in DFW or National One, and there she is. She's unemployed. She put herself out of a job. I love it. I love it. What else do I have for you? Oh, did I get this? I know I pulled it somewhere. Here, where is it? There is. Man, I thought I pulled it, but I didn't get to it. So that sucks. I'll just tell you what happened. You have a WNBA press conference with the Dallas Wings, and I will tell you, the WNBA, as you know, nobody watches it, nobody cares about it. The WNBA is a militaristic, leftist, America-hating, rabid LGBTQIA plus leftist militant league of a lot of lesbians. And they love being super woke and hating America and loving BLM. And they refuse to allow themselves to be held to the same standard of the NBA, but yet want to be paid the same way. Are you surprised? Hardcore leftist, all that stuff. I'm not. Today, there was a question by, and again, it's the Dallas Wings, the WNBA team. If you ask the average person about the Dallas Wings, they're going to say, I love wings. Where do you get yours from? That's what they're going to say. But I didn't. This is crazy. High-profile lesbian on the Dallas Wings team. Again, shocker that you're lesbian playing the WNBA, but she has a girlfriend or a wife. I don't even know what it is. I'm not trying to be mean, but she's got a girlfriend or wife who was just recruited on the team. Wife and wife are playing on the same team. The question was asked today by the Dallas Morning News reporter, a Dallas Morning News reporter. I understand you. He asked a question. And he said, let me make sure I get the question right here. He asked about the relationship with her wife or girlfriend, Paige Buchers, who's on the Wings as well. Again, I wouldn't have known any of this. She asked about her relationship with her wife or girlfriend who's on the team. And she was just drafted or recruited just for this season all of a sudden. And so the WNBA spokesperson for the Dallas Wings interrupted and said, I understand why you have to ask that question, but we're going to respectfully decline from commenting on players' personal lives. Can you name me any male sport where the team tells them you're not going to ask questions, you're not allowed to ask questions about the personal lives? Everybody wants to know about everything about the personal lives. In fact, their personal lives affect how their professional performances are. We all know that. And so it's funny because the reporter that asked that question wrote a column in the Dallas Morning News today. I'm going to read a few things off. But you wonder why nobody likes them. You wonder why people are throwing dildos on the court. And it was the funniest thing in the world. I loved it. Every time I saw it, I loved it. We talked about it. I was filling in one morning in Phoenix. And there's a Phoenix WNBA team. I couldn't tell you what their name is. Nobody watches it. But that morning when I was on the air, the night before, some guy had been arrested for throwing dildos on the court. And then the next day, I was filling in Chicago. And guess what happened overnight, that night, before I went back on in Chicago? Another dildo throwing incident onto the court in Chicago. So every morning I was filling in. It was a new waking up and a new people arrested, guys arrested for throwing dildos on the court in every city I was in. It was the funniest thing in the world. Long live the dildo throwers. As far as I can tell, this is the first time any sport player taken with first pick of the draft could be in a relationship with a player already on the team and who just happens to be a former number one pick as well. Bad enough 2 years in a row. They've gone bad enough for 2 years in a row with the team. Now they're doing this. You choose from a cast of candidates, including terrific point guard just down the road at TCU. The Dallas Wings may have gone with one player bound to have bad day with your best player. In other words, they have breakups or they have domestic abuse or you don't know what's going to happen. Your personal life can impact your professional life, this guy writes it from the Dallas Morning News. So if it's good enough for male athletics, shouldn't it be the same for female athletes playing on the same team? No, not when you're militant, leftist, Marxist lesbians. What are we afraid of here? What are we saying when we try to hide something already out in the open, he says. Exactly, because everybody knows it already. Okay, and then this is from, I was bracing myself for the liberal Mac angle, and all his columns are like leftist screeds. But I was bracing myself for him to say how it was wrong to ask the question. But even he, like a broken clock, was right today. Let her answer the question, he says. It's the only part of the press conference that went viral or the vast majority of the audience is interested in. The team is annoyed that this is a story because why would you ask that of a man? Of course they would. Did Paige Bucher's influence on the Wings' decision to select her girlfriend? Is that why they picked her? Did the Wings accommodate that request to help the new star player happy? Those scenarios are plausible. The woman that was interviewed today, her name is Fudd. Her last name is Fudd. You can't make this up. Her first name's not Elmer. Fudd was the consensus number one player in this draft class, but is she worthy of selection? There's a reason why so many places of employment have rules about coworkers fraternizing or dating. Are they freezing out their team? Are they going to freeze out their teammates? Is that why they did this? So they wouldn't, etc. It could be a title or it could be a disaster. He says that's exactly right. That is exactly right. I feel like I owe you the that video, so I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to get it for you, as we say in Texas, right quick, because it really is absurd to see this. Like, oh, we have special privileges. You can't ask questions that you can ask in men's league, but yet they want the same amount of money. Here, let me get this for you. It's right here. Boom, boom, and boom. All right. It's coming up. It'll take me a second, and then we'll play it because it's very worthy of being played. All right, give me 1 second. And then when it comes up, I'll play it. What a day, though. What a day. I was on the air in Des Moines, Iowa today in the afternoon. I'll be on again tomorrow. If you want to check me out, WHO, News Radio 1040 WHO in Des Moines on Friday afternoon, 4 to 7 our time, Dallas time, which is 5 to 8 Eastern. And then Monday, we're waiting. The video's almost ready. On Monday, I'll be on in Phoenix for the morning show, which mornings there at this time, they're 6 to 10. I'll be on from 8 to noon Central Time. On here we go. I got the video. Okay, give me 1 sec. So I'll be on Monday morning as well. Here's the video I've been wanting to play you.
AZ, Kevin Sherrington, the Dallas Morning News. Paige announced last year on TikTok that y'all were a couple, and I'm wondering if that is still the case, and if so, if y'all have talked to any other couples in the league about how they negotiate that dynamic as pro teammates.
I understand why you have to ask that question, but we're going to respectfully decline from commenting on our players' personal lives. Go to the next question.
What? You can't ask about players' personal. Let's go back. This is what happens when militant leftist lesbians run a league.
As pro teammates.
I understand why you have to ask that question, but we're going to respectfully decline from commenting on our players' personal lives. Go to the next question.
That player should grow a pair of ovaries and just say, no, I'm going to talk about it. You're not going to stop me. What am I, a little kid? This show's been brought to you by IRSprob.com, by the way. And if you're worried because yesterday was tax day, or if you have back taxes and you don't want to pay, you're filing for an extension, and you have IRS problems, you want to go to Randy Martin from IRSprob.com. Give him a call at 214-214-3000, helping good people with IRS problems, specializing in IRS controversy, IRS audits, and tax planning strategy. Randy Martin's been my CPA for over 9 years. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was 6, 7, or 8. 9, almost 10. And he's incredible. He's a good friend of mine. We were friends in Sunday school class at First Baptist Dallas. And then years later, he's like, I want to have you endorse my product. And I said, absolutely, because I know him. He's incredible. But his firm is a great accountancy firm, and they are great if you have IRS problems. They're local for Dallas-Fort Worth. They can do anywhere in the country as well. Go to IRSprob.com, as Randy says, IRSprob.com, or call 214-214-3000. And I'm wearing my Due West Foundation and Plumbing hat because everything in this house, plumbing foundation, has been done by Due West Foundation and Plumbing. If you want the best, call Due West. Jim Dutton from Texas Home Improvement, heard all over the state of Texas on the radio, is the owner. It's a multi-generational family business. Third generation is his sons, Adam and Johan. They are slowly but surely taking the company over. And Jim's dad is thankfully still alive. He started the business in 1970-ish, 70s and 70s. And I didn't buy this house that I'm sitting in until Jim and Due West Foundation and Plumbing performed a static test on my plumbing and foundation inspection because, Texas, it's bad, especially North Texas. So if you have any plumbing issues, they've replaced 17 feet of plumbing under my house. They've replaced my water heater, every single issue we've had in this house. When you take out the pipes from under the house, too, you have to put piers in there because the dirt will never go back the way it was before. So also they do concrete leveling. They do retaining walls, root shields to protect your foundation, which they've done a bunch for me. Call 972-406-0912, 972-406-0912, Due West, du-west.com. That's du-west.com. And I will see you tomorrow. And again, if you want to check me out tomorrow afternoon, I'll be on in Des Moines, Iowa. You can just Google it, News Radio 1040 WHO, and from 4 to 7 p.m. Central. I will leave you with this great video I like to play from time to time.
They, them, energy.
God is non-binary.
They, them, energy.
Our trans community needs abortion care too.
They, them, energy.
Something that you love.
I love the trans children who showed up yesterday at the state capitol.
They, them, energy.
Modern science obviously recognizes that there are many more than 2 biological sexes. In fact, there are 6.
They, them, energy. They, them, energy. They, them, energy.
Oh, it never gets old. Thank you, Ted Cruz, for putting that out there. This show's been brought to you by IRSprob.com, helping good people with IRS problems, specializing in IRS controversy, IRS audits, and tax planning strategies. I will see you very soon.